Kansas down at the half, but has no problem with North Carolina. And Michigan, they didn't have any problem with VCU, and that's the matchup in the Sweet 16, Kansas and Michigan. I'm Tom Vandervoort alongside Mike DeCourcy. We're breaking down each and every game of this year's NCAA tournament right here from Dayton. And Mike, this is a very interesting matchup. When you look at how Kansas performed today, how Michigan performed yesterday, how do you see this one going? Where's the edge?
Well, it's a real challenge, I think, for Michigan because this will be a great offensive team that they're playing. When it wants to be a great offensive team with a lot of different weapons. Elijah Johnson, we've seen him score 30 plus. We've seen Ben McLemore get into that range. Jeff Withey's a very capable scorer. Travis Relaford, goodness gracious, all of a sudden he's a scorer. He takes out Carolina in what's not necessarily the most favorable matchup. It wasn't like he was being guarded by an undersized guy or something, but he goes out and is a hero. Yep. So they have a lot of guys that Michigan's going to have to account for. Michigan is not a great defensive basketball team. They are getting better. But they are an offense-first team. You can survive in this tournament for a while as an offense-first team, but you have to be really good on offense, and that's the question. Is Kansas playing great defense now? I think they're getting better. I think they've had moments when they really have. They've had some others where they didn't play it well at all. If you look at their game, the final regular season game, had a chance to win the Big 12 outright. Mm-hmm. They go against Baylor on the road against Pierre Jackson. They give up 28. They lose big. Trey Burke is a terrific college basketball player. There are some ways in which Jackson is superior physically, but in terms of being able to control the pace of the game, offensive efficiency, making sure the right decision, there's nobody in college basketball right now better than Trey Burke. So how do they guard him? Do they allow him to dictate the pace? I think those are all questions that Kansas is going to have to answer.
Absolutely. And if I look down at my UPS Team Performance Index numbers, it is the offensive index that really stands out for Michigan. I feel like they ended their season, the sort of regular season in the tournament, and they seem like they lost their way a little bit. It seems like they found their way again. Is there something that they need to do to be that efficient offense?
Well, I think first of all they have to get Glenn Robinson involved because it gives them 4 significant weapons. There were times during the latter part of the Big Ten season when Glenn was really not much more than a decoration, somebody that they'd occasionally find in transition for a great-looking lob, but they didn't use him much, and he wasn't making himself that available in the half-court game. He was terrific in each of their first 2 games, especially the opener in the NCAA tournament. And I think that what you're seeing now is a team with more weapons. And then the other element that's really come on, they started Mitch McGary against VCU. Their freshman center, they had been playing Jordan Morgan, and they've been almost splitting minutes. Morgan's retreated a little bit in the rotation. McGary has been spectacular in this tournament. I just love his talent. He is so skilled. He is huge. He's a tank. He set a screen in the game against VCU that everybody in America who watched will remember except the one who ran into it. So he's really making a difference in this tournament, and I think he's empowered Michigan as a basketball team. What he doesn't do great is defend, and he just hasn't played enough yet to do that. And then what the problem is, he's going to play a 7-footer in Jeff Withey who has multiple skills. He's got to avoid foul trouble. If McGary gets into foul trouble, it's not they don't have anybody else to put in there. They have a couple of guys, John Horford, and they have certainly Jordan Morgan, as I mentioned before. Right. But they lose a lot. McGary is now a real force for them, and they need him on the floor.
So do you have a feeling about which way this one goes?
It's probably going to be as hard a matchup to call as there is in the Sweet 16. I think right now that Kansas is playing with great confidence, and I think they will win the basketball game, but it's one of those games that could be like one of these that we had in Dayton where it really comes down to who makes the right decisions at the very end.
All right, well, certainly going to be a great ball game, and we'll see what happens. For Mike DeCourcy, I'm Tom Vandervoort. Thanks again to UPS. We'll see you next time.